hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina Speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You can hear with some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Well, good afternoon, Cayman Islands. Good morning to our global family. Welcome to another edition of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. I'm your host, Sabrina, and it's so good to be back with you today for another episode about readiness. Yes, not reaction. As we speak to a slow-moving tropical system that is making its way through the Caribbean, and slow is like OMG, very slow. Its path is definitely still somewhat uncertain, but its presence is undeniable. And that means we, as a people, must remain alert, informed, and definitely prepared. This isn't about panic, ladies and gentlemen. It's about power. The power that comes from knowledge, planning, and community. So whether you're a seasoned hurricane survivor or new to our islands, today's show is for you, and especially focusing on insurance. Yes, because we're focusing on one of the most overlooked but critical parts of storm preparedness: property protection and insurance. And what does your policy really cover? What happens if your roof is damaged or your belongings are lost? And what can you do now before the winds continue to rise to protect what really matters most? Joining me in a few, I'll be joined by our in-house property insurance specialist, definitely someone who's known in the market and no stranger to Sabrina Speaks. Miss Karina is back with us to help us demystify and bring it into reality right now and into fine print. We'll bust myths again and empower Caymanians, homeowners, and even a little bit about renters and landlords alike to make informed decisions before the storm comes. But just before we go into that, let me give you the latest on tropical storm. Right now, that the information that we have on the latest from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. So yes, as of 4:30, Tropical Storm Melissa, and this is an update by the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center continues its advisories on Tropical Storm Melissa. The system is moving very slowly at about 2 miles an hour, and the recent update has the system possibly moving near Western Jamaica by Tuesday afternoon. At this point, the system could be a major hurricane. There remains some uncertainty about the exact path the system will take, but the forecasted cone of uncertainty at 5 days includes the Cayman Islands. Now, while the system poses no immediate threat at this time, residents are encouraged to remain cautious and prepared in the event of a shift in the projected path, which could potentially impact conditions across all 3 Cayman Islands. Now, given the uncertainty of how the system will ultimately track, residents are urged to continue to closely monitor updates for any potential impact on the Cayman Islands using your official channels for information. Now, the next update from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service will be at around 10:30 p.m. this evening. And for the latest updates, we encourage you to visit www.weather.gov.ky. And for preparedness tips, feel free to log on to www.caymanprepared.ky. And that is why it's so important. And if you miss it, it's right there, caymanprepared.ky for all of your latest, and definitely on all of the social media channels that we have here. We're sharing it all with you today. And guess what? Tropical systems may be unpredictable, but your preparedness doesn't have to be. And with our friends down there at International Lighting, they got you covered, and sales continue. Don't be left unable to cook safely when the power goes out, or should it go out, because at International Lighting, they got 2 burner gas stoves in stock. Leave it to Edward. He has everything you could think of. Perfect for keeping meals going when electric stoves aren't an option. They're reliable, they're compact, and ready when you need them most. So visit International Lighting. They're open until 6 p.m. So you still got approximately an hour, and I'm quite sure Eddie's not going to run you. Just go down there at International Lighting for your 2 burner stoves and more essentials that can help you stay prepared this season. They're located at 194 North Sound Road. They're open again from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. And that's Ed Plaza. Feel free to give them a call. That's 345-949-5141 for more information. Yeah, that's the latest from Eddie and the crew down there. I see you all coming in slowly but surely. Slowly. But we'll be right back after this message.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings.
It's our lifeline, connecting East End to West Bay, Cayman to Little Cayman, and the Cayman Islands to the world.
It established the route to get our children to school, keep our hospitals powered, and support our businesses every day.
Through hard work, ingenuity, and perseverance, people make that happen.
From the early pioneers who paved the first paths and laid the first pipes,
to the innovators who modernize water, energy, telecoms, ports, and our airport.
They're the quiet hands that build resilience.
And the vision that keeps Cayman going strong.
Now it's our turn to recognize them. Know someone who built, maintained, or improved the Cayman Islands we love?
Nominate them today at gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
That's right. And because it's that important why we played, and they have extended the deadline until the 31st of October, just for those of you who may just be hearing about it and want to see or find someone who actually fits under that criteria. The deadline has now been extended until the 31st of October. Welcome back to this episode of Sabrina Speaks. It is a pleasure to be here with you on this fabulous, thankful Thursday. It is so good to be back with you. And because of everything going on with Mother Nature and this very slow-moving tropical system that is in our area, Cayman Airways posted not too long ago that they're going to be having change fees. Their change fees are now in effect. So if anyone or if any flights have been impacted by this system, you are allowed to actually, this is their public service announcement, and let's bear with me here. They are monitoring the projected path of Tropical Storm Melissa, and flights and business operations at this time remain unchanged. But the change fee waiver has been implemented for customers who wish to voluntarily change their plans to travel at a later date to or from and between the Cayman Islands. Now, customers will have to pay a change fee or fare difference if their changes meet the following, customers will not have to pay these fees if their changes meet the following requirements. Tickets must have been purchased on or before October 22nd. Travel must have been scheduled for the flights departing October 22nd to 29th. New travel dates must be between October 22nd and November 20th, 2025. And there's a note that travel occurring on November 7th to the 10th will be subjected to fare difference. Now, all travel must be rebooked in the original cabin. The origin and destination must also remain the same, and all travel must be on Cayman Airways. Now, if passengers who do not meet the above criteria, they will only be eligible for the change fee waiver and the option to apply for full value of the ticket to travel bank, provided that the ticket was purchased on or before October 22nd, that the original booking was for travel between October 22nd and 29th, and the origin and destination remains unchanged. Now, there's much more information on this. You will find it on our social media pages. Also, feel free to go on to Cayman Airways as well for additional information. Now, the information is going to be coming out. We're going to be sharing it with you as soon as we get it as well. I will share that link here for Cayman Airways as well. Let me share that link here with you, just in case you or a family member want to know more information. Yep, and those details are there. So log on and get all of the latest updates. But how have your Thursday been? Is everybody? I hope you all are not panicking. I hope you're not panicking. You're exhaling because you know where we live. We know what we're subjected to, and you're prepared. We don't want to be impacted by anything like this. No tropical cyclones, but reality is it happens. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's see who's here with us. Good evening, Connie. It's good to have you in the house. Is the first one commenting this evening. Always a pleasure to have you. Happy Thursday to everyone. Damian Henry, good evening to you as well. Hi, Miss Gladys. It's always a pleasure to have you. And I'm hoping that this evening you all will be just as informed as you were in previous evenings. I was in a toss-up between whether or not I have a general open mic for you today, understanding everything that's going on with all the happenings and the information out there about Melissa, even though she's moving slowly. She really has every meteorologist head scratching right now. Now, when you got a tropical cyclone that even AI models, as Brian Shields said on Sandra this morning, really, even those are like unpredictable or they don't know. That's something. Again, Mother Nature. So we just need to be prepared at all times, to be honest with you. And I'm hoping that, this one will be a thing in the history books, and for whomever is in the path, that, everyone will do their best to secure themselves, their property. And sandbag collections continues as well here in Cayman. And if you're living in low-lying areas, that you take the necessary precaution. It's important to have a plan all the time, to have a plan. And definitely, if you have to move, make sure that you are able to move to somewhere after securing where you're at before time. Understanding emergency personnel in the height of all of the happenings in any tropical system, they're not going to risk their lives when the winds are at a certain amount or conditions are just unbearable, because then they put themselves at risk. So yeah, we want you to make sure that you remember even your loved ones, the seniors within your community. And the most important thing is to keep locked to reliable sources, understanding the power of media right now. You can go on any smart device and you can get it. I have been looking at the various different news stations, and it's amazing how everyone has this projected for everything else. And then you come back to reality with what's happening here, even though you may say ours could be a little bit more timely. You got to get this right. Forecasting is someone like trying to predict the future. But that's why we leave it to the experts. And what we need to do personally is to just take stock of our own surroundings, our family, and make sure that we are prepared. That's the key. Hey, Cameron. CAL all the way on a better. Don't even think about selling our RKX. We love RKX. Good evening, y'all. Only you, Ina Cameron. Only you. Cayman Water Company, panic. Oh God, did I see Water Company? Cayman WCC, panic buying already. Really? Trolley full of water, leaving price right, but better safe than sorry. Yeah, well, if you were all prepared for hurricane season, let's say from June, what I do personally, to be honest, whenever I go to the supermarket or I buy in bulk, I usually do, like in the middle of the year anyhow, I buy a little extra tin stuff and that sort of stuff. Like definitely your Clorox, like I'd always have additional bottles of Clorox. Those the Lysol ones, some wipes, alcohol, that sort of stuff. And like your tin foods, I will always buy 1, 2 of this and that. You have your flour and your beans and that sort of stuff. Oh my gosh. I see another one is confirming that cost you less and price right are RAM. And it's good to be prepared, but just don't buy the essentials. What's comical though, and share with me what you have witnessed. If you've gone through, I can go back as a child from Gilbert. Then you had Paloma. Then you had Ivan. Then you had, we know in 2021, we had Grace and all of those. When I did go to the store, now that I'm an adult, and you see people buying ice cream, make that make sense. I can understand toiletries, that sort of stuff, hand sanitizing stuff, cleaning up stuff, and that sort of, but ice cream? Unless they have generator, I'm not judging anyone. For those who have alternate electric source or you have, let's say, solar panels, fine. But to me, when you go, you look for your batteries or candles or charcoal for the grill. If you don't have a propane grill, that's the type of stuff that I would be looking for. And making sure that you have a little extra. Like I always do extra bottles of Le Bleu because this time of the year, instead of ordering 3 bottles, I will double up 6. And those are the 5-gallon bottles. So little things like that. And I'll get extra matches or those lighters, because you never know when you're going to need them. But there's some things that I see in carts. Yeah, I fast like that because people used to look in my cart too. But it's interesting. When you find yourself in the supermarkets at critical times like these, you kind of wonder, why would I be buying ice cream sandwiches? And even if I'm going to buy milk, if you have young kids for cereal, that sort of stuff, there's another alternate option. You got the shelf-stable milk that can stay off the fridge for a while. And good old Clem or Nido, you got the powder milk. That can last you a long time, and then it's in a tin. So things like that is where my headspace go to. But last thing I would be thinking of is ice cream. I'm sorry, Johan may disagree with me, especially if it's chocolate ice cream. But my headspace wouldn't be for ice creams and popsicles, that sort of stuff. Hi, Annie. How you doing, my sweet? How you doing? It's good to have you here. Yes. Tisha, thank you. Dress Down tomorrow is Pink Day in recognition and honoring of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Yes, and you should see me. You know how much times this week alone my hand went to a pink, and I'm like, nope, you gotta wait until Friday. Real men wear pink. I want you to share your pictures. It'd be interesting to get some cool pictures to see how you guys are in the office, because even if Michelle comes our way, it's not going to be until next week. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if you could share your pictures with me and let's have some fun with it. Let's see what the men do. Cayman WCC saw this at supermarket today at 1:00. Oh, okay. With all the people coming out. My goodness. Yeah. We're saying take it easy. I heard earlier on that there were some seniors kind of having a little panic because when you hear category 5, when you're hearing all of that sort of stuff, yeah, you kind of get on edge. And worse if you live by yourself. And I guess if there's any silver lining in this particular cyclone, if it actually comes into our immediate area, it's moving so slow that we do have time to actually prepare. And this is why it's good then to always be prepared during this time of the year. So you're really just topping up. Like I would go through and just double check what I'm short of and just top up on crackers, that sort of stuff. But outside of that, those who have persons who are vulnerable, those who may be oxygen dependent, those who are on life-saving medications and all that sort of stuff. Why call Michelle? It's Melissa. Oh yeah, it's Thursday. Thank you for the correction. But if you got medication and stuff like that, you know how that goes. What the heck did I say? Anyhow, I would make sure that I will double check on my prescription medication and check all of my just backups and batteries, that sort of stuff. Cameron, people don't know about Nido. I bet you. I know it. So that shows that I'm coming from humble beginnings. And I know Clem too. Who's Michelle? Melissa. Melissa. Girl, Connie, you can't go by muted names. You can't go by me. But yes, I thank you for the correction. Melissa. She moving so slow, I even forget her name. Yes, it is real. Cayman WCC, thinking about it, by the time we do find out the direction, maybe Saturday, will the supermarkets open on Sunday for people to stock up? That's a good question. Normally they're flexible though, Cayman WCC. They are flexible whenever cyclones like this are in the area. You will have staggered hours. You would see extended as well, as long as it's safe. And remember now, they also have their staff that has to go home and make preparations. Sometimes what they will do, they will probably allow persons to take care of their personal property and give them staggered work hours so that they can also take care of themselves. This is where our frontline staff and especially our uniform service personnel, they have families too. And, when things like this happen, they're on high alert. I'm quite sure they're all meeting right now, discussing a plan and all that sort of stuff. My aim is there's hopes of having Hazard Management on tomorrow on Sabrina Speaks. So I'm excited about that to hear. And by then we will have additional updates as well in regards to that. So, but it is something when you have systems like this, and for those persons who are here for the first time, this is not our first rodeo living in the Caribbean, but you never know. And a lot of things come back to mind with Ivan. 16 hours I can recall sitting on top of a washer and a dryer under a stair, how the laundry was. It was in a rented area, a rented villa. And that's where I sat for almost, 12, 14 hours. And you could just hear everything outside. And that was memories of Ivan. And it was something. And all the preparations that was done, the place was boarded up and you had your extra water. And, I had my two boys were a bit younger then. When it happens, it's real. And that was my first time as an adult experiencing a hurricane like that full force. And you saw the water coming in, and I saw when it came up and when it went back down. And there were other persons who've had other experience through Ivan that is much worse. At least I was indoors. There are stories that I heard that people were in cars, that they had to tie rope around themselves and go to neighbors' houses and stuff like that. So to see where we are even on forecasting from then versus now, where the Cayman Islands has come from in our forecasting, what infrastructures we have, how we can talk about storm surge and all that sort of stuff. I'm excited to have the discussion with Hazard Management, fingers crossed, tomorrow, and we can engage in those conversations. But I would say we made a lot of progress in how we dispense information, how they have set up the emergency response mechanisms with all key stakeholders. And it's quite interesting how we continue to evolve here in the Cayman Islands as we are able to navigate. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? I said they're talking about that they got open Sunday. For people
Yeah.
to buy stuff. Why see out there? They don't have nothing by Saturday. Way think about Sunday. I couldn't get the bread. I went last night and I couldn't get the bread that we use. People out there crazy. And I have for God, we not gonna get nothing. They out there killing themselves, spending all the little money. And when I buy no excess, but I couldn't even get the hard bread, but not what I use. And I don't buy the local. Because I don't keep my bread in fridge. And all you buy them today and you pay so much for bread, and by tomorrow when you look at got John Joe on it. So I buy the special bread, but then they have 3 different the same brand but 3 different types. And first and I had not one. And then there's another.
And this was from when? Yesterday or last night?
Last night. And I went there almost like say after 8. And the guy said that they didn't know if they had any more. Then this one say, unless they got extra stock, because some of the stuff that's selling out, they don't have it in stock. I guess unless, and I don't think no boat done come by then. So I don't know, the minute people hear one little better, they runs out then. And that's what somebody was telling me from a hardware store. And I said, yeah, and what it does with, because you can only buy so much batteries, because if you buy too much batteries, after a while, then battery go bad. And I'm sure they have like lamp and this one, because I have plenty kerosene, well not kerosene, but the light that, because I got a lamp and thing. And I said, why these people are a hurricane or a storm coming, they got to run out then buying, especially things like plywood and all that. Thank God I got shutters, but they don't put stuff up like that. And they out there buying like the same things over that they buy when barrel were coming or whatever. And that was the person had done me. She wonder what it does with them. Then they said they're not going to money. I said, exactly. I don't be wrong. Then my friend just come and tell me she was going out. And I say, in Air Force, they say, price right. Yes, from yesterday, my friend told me they went to water and you couldn't get in. And I buy, I bought a couple of the little small water from Jamaica, because I buy them like in case I got take Billary out or anything, but I have the H2 and I have 8 bottles, and when the guy come the other day, I only get, because I've been getting plenty of water, but them waters has an expiration date, and if you keep them too long,
they taste funny. Yes, they do taste funny.
We're not using the water now that we used to use, and I only get 3. I got about quarter one on my pool and 2 more, and that's all I have. If they come up, I'll go outside. They say we can get plenty of rain, so I'll go outside and drink rainwater.
Well, thank you for that update. But yes, we are getting comments in that the stores are like mayhem.
I don't think, God forbid, I don't think they are predicting that it changed, because like I tell you, I don't know what, and you're not the only one call it Michelle. I go to say Melissa, I say Michelle, so you know this.
That was a oof.
I don't know what happened. Why I'm saying Michelle, because I might be thinking about my cousin in Honduras, got a daughter named Michelle.
That came out of nowhere.
The same boat, she's an old lady, but the thing is what got me kind of concerned. It moving too slow. That not pick up at 2 miles, it must be real, it must be tired than me. That's what kills you. And then it's how 50 miles an hour wind it can pick up. That's a lot of wind. And with that wind, and then just moving slow like that, creeping, that will blow down everything, every tree you got in your yard, unless it got, I didn't want it. So that's the dangerous part. The heavy wind, and then that's slow moving speed. If it come fast, it will do a damage, but it go. But when it's so slow, and then that speed is still the same thing, it's just lingering. So I don't know what looking for. It must have lost something that it can't find.
Well, thank you for sharing with us, and keep me up to date for all of those persons who are out there. Drop me a line, give me a call, let me see what's happening on the roads. Keep us up to speed.
Tell me I can come east end. She got 2 rooms and she high, so I think I can
consider.
But I really floods bad.
Okay. Yeah, and I know where you are up in there.
Bags, and Heather promised she can bring them for me. Up in here. I'm not going to bother help me with nothing.
It's on bags.
A door done go down.
A what?
Oh my God.
What?
The door off of my little outside house. Look at that, how big Julian got cheese off me.
It's blowing already out there?
Patrick, he come and knock down the door now, come put it back.
Oh,
knock it off the hinges. I need to call him. But
all
he
right.
promised me.
Well,
And
go
we
and
had one,
secure your property.
had one cleared up by it. And it look, I just look out to my kitchen and it's flat down on the ground. I say, quite look here.
Oh, boy.
Everything is out of our house.
Oh,
And all
wow.
the elders who's got in there.
All right. Thank you so much. We got our guests lurking in the background. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Keep tuned.
Bye.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for your contribution. It is a pleasure. Shadden is saying the panic has begun now that people have been paid. I think the unknown path is what is most scary. People should already be stocked up for hurricane season and don't wait for something to be coming. You're quite right, Shadden. But what I notice, people based on the cost of living right here, and we have a lot of persons who rent. They're literally living week by week, paycheck to paycheck, and where one would probably postpone going to the supermarket, they may be opting to do other things. I'm feeling that, not to tell you that panic buying isn't real, but I think we're having so much people, they only go to pick up. It's like shop as you go. You only when you need, unless you have a lot of young children, and then you're really just topping up on your milk, your juices, your bread, your eggs. But with what I'm hearing, and I welcome persons to call in or to message me what they're seeing out there. It'll be interesting. But you're quite right. There was just government payday last weekend, but you never can tell. We don't want to, it's going to be interesting. And even when you do your monthly shopping, when you hear of a hurricane that lights could be out by extended hours, I guess that's where people is doing the excess. So very interesting. Thank you for your feedback there. Cameron, the rat race is real. Runya, please remind people to take their time driving on these roads. Yeah, Cameron, you're quite right. You're quite right. I'm getting that it's just crazy driving as well on the roads. So I'm hoping that you'll have more police out there just monitoring some of these high traffic areas. And there's no sense of just breaking the law when it comes to speed. Breeze is picking up significantly in Town. Thank you for that, my sweet. Wherever you are in the neck of the woods, keep us posted, 936-8255 to join in live, to let us know what's going on. And Karina is there. I'm get excited to hear what she has to tell us for these last minute people. Check up on your insurance. Well, let's go. I'm happy to welcome back to Sabrina Speaks. Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you guys? Good, good, good. Obviously, everyone's like stressing and panicking now. I'm getting a little bit of PTSD from Ivan.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, I think it's happening, but the only thing we can do is just be prepared and hope for the best. So yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, my sweet, for coming on to talk more about, and as we prepare for whatever, some of the things right now, we're panic buying in the grocery stores, but some people, when was the last time they really picked up their policy insurance for property insurance? And this is why I thought it was a good idea to have someone like yourself on. We were hoping Hazard Management would have come from the preparation side, but no, they're going to come, and I can understand them being very busy. They're going to be on tomorrow. So it's a good segue leading up to Hazard Management coming on to look at the more personal side of things when it talk about property protection and peace of mind. So for the sake of those who may have missed the last time you were on Sabrina Speaks, please tell us a little bit more about yourself, what you do, where you work, and before we get into the nitty gritty about the coverage of clarity, flood versus wind, renters and landlords, how all of these things, just a candid conversation, just you and I. But it's a pleasure to have you back. Welcome again.
Well, thank you for having me. So for those who don't know who I am, my name is Yarmis Hides, also known as Karina Hides. I've been in the insurance industry for nearly 20 years. I do hold a bachelor's degree in risk management and insurance. So I am a qualified risk manager. And in terms of what I do, my focus for the past 20 years have been mainly in the property and casualty space, where I do everything from homeowners, construction, commercial buildings and stratas, and some liability policies, as well as some employee benefits. So that is my background. I'm the managing partner of Concilium Cayman, where I head up the Concilium. We're part of a global firm, Eventum Group, and I head up the Cayman office here, along with my two other team members. So I am an insurance broker. So I do act for and behalf of my clients, not the insurance company. So I'm here to, just discuss some real life scenarios, some,
Yes.
you know, tips, and reminders of, the home, especially the homeowners,
Mhm.
so they can be prepared for in the event of this hurricane,
Well,
Melissa.
thank you so much. And we will share your contact details again, because it was very informative the last time you were on. And I hope that you got good feedback as well, post you being showcased here. And a lot of feedback that I got post show was like they had no clue understanding the brokerage side of things. So again, feel free, don't think it's repetitive. This is a time now to reinforce critical information as we build this conversation, but how fitting. Let's get straight into coverage clarity, my love. What are some of the biggest misconceptions? Here we are, 45 minutes away by flight is Jamaica. We're seeing how often Jamaica's name has been actually called with this storm, how slowly it's moving. And then we're talking about, oh, it's going to go there. The mountains will weaken it, that sort of stuff. But reality is we're focusing on insurance, property insurance. People have some misconceptions about property insurance, especially during hurricane season. And I'm quite sure there are rules as it pertains to even how the business side actually works with its
Yeah.
close proximity right now.
Yeah.
Share some of
So
those misconceptions with us, please.
for sure. And I think I've had it all today. And I think
Oh,
one of the
wow.
most misconceptions is that you can wait for the storm to approach and then still buy insurance or change your coverage. And no, you can't do that, because what's happening is now, once the storm is in proximity to the Cayman Islands, most insurers usually just placed a bind-in um, moratorium on placing any insurances.
Oh,
And
wow.
at this time, you cannot buy any new policies. You cannot increase your limits. You cannot change your deductibles. So if you don't have your insurance policy in place by now, you're surely out of luck. You should have had all that stuff
Mm.
done, reviewed, and bind and tucked away, because I can tell you we've already received 2 notifications from the local market telling us that they have stopped writing any new business, and any changes, etc. You can't make that, unfortunately. So
Now,
that is,
how early is that call made?
it just depends on the provider and whoever. So usually there are some conservative underwriters who would go in early.
Hmm.
There's some others that would wait till the last minute, but I can tell you by tomorrow morning, all of them probably would be, if the storm
Oh,
keeps tracking that way. We probably get notifications from all of them.
what
But yeah,
about renewals? I got a question that popped up. What about renewals of policies?
renewal should be okay. Yeah, if it's renewing within the time now, but anything new or anything changing, you can't, unfortunately. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's talk about flood
So
versus wind because everything is into a tropical storm, into a hurricane. Let's break down the difference between windstorm coverage and flood coverage and why both matters.
okay. So in the Cayman Islands, we're lucky to have both perils covered under most policies, under the property policies and the homeowners policies. So there
Mhm.
really isn't a differentiator into those two when it comes to insurance coverage for those perils. But I can break it down. So obviously, what wind coverage is, it covers wind related events such as hurricane, tropical storms, wind gusts, etc.
Mhm.
And flood obviously covers rising water or overflow from water. It could either be by wind or heavy rainfall
Mhm.
or any kind of storm surge. So that's the difference in the two different perils. But like I said, in the States, those two coverages are normally separated. But in Cayman, we're lucky that a lot of how the insurance policies are set,
Designed.
yeah, designed, those both perils are covered under that one policy.
Okay. What if somebody's looking at there? Because I know you were here before and you said
Mhm.
a lot of times we don't break down what your house is insured for now versus what the going rate for building if you had to rebuild your house. that actually could impact your premiums. Break that down now when it comes to coverage with what current policies you now have in place. Break
Okay,
that
so
down for the sake of persons who may have missed the last episode.
okay, so you're talking about the underinsurance
The
part.
yes, underinsurance. And
Okay,
let's say somebody's looking at it and they're like, I think I'm underinsured.
underinsured. Okay, so how you can kind of confirm that is obviously we always recommend getting updated valuation for insurance purposes. So in terms of knowing whether or not it would be um, advised to seek that valuation report from the surveyor.
Hmm.
So in terms of underinsurance, so how it works is it's not what you paid for the property at the time.
Hmm.
It's whatever the property costs to rebuild at today's dollars. So you could have purchased a property 10 years ago and you paid $100,000 for it. Cayman economy, construction costs. We have a very good, economy when it comes to property values. That
Hmm.
property may have increased to at least 250,000. If you're still insured for 100,000, you are most likely underinsured and you will be penalized under your homeowners policy or property policy because every policy has an average underinsurance clause and it requires you to insure for the correct replacement value that would have cost to repair that property today.
So what would be that penalty? What would be like the worst one you've seen in your time? Like you penalize is one thing. People don't know this thing. They
Yeah.
paid their premium, they're just renewing it. And if the conversation did not ensue, and here we are, got the system, and you could get damage, and you going in now to make a claim to repair, and they're like, oh, hold up, you're underinsured, but you
Yeah.
took my premium and you didn't educate me. What do you mean?
So they use a formula, did over should times the loss amount. So if you did 100,000 and you should have been insured for 200,000, that's you're 50% underinsured. And that's how much they would adjust your claim by less the deductible. So that's what I mean in terms of it just doesn't pay to being underinsured because you would only get, if you're 50% underinsured, you would only get 50% of the claim because of that
Plus the deductible, so that we
minus
would only
deductible.
get what left.
What's left, yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that, but that is a condition under the policy. You have to read your policy, you have to understand your policies. And I think the insurance industry has done a very good job in terms of educating the public with underinsurance. Every renewal notice that I can tell you that most insurers sends out, they do put that advisory at the back
Mhm,
of your renewal notices reminding you that there is an average clause and you should review your sum insured values. They
mhm.
recommend every 2 to 3 years.
Okay, that's good to know. Can I saw a comment pop up here, and I'll pop them up on the screen as they come. Can you itemize your policy? Is one question.
What do you mean itemize, like your contents?
And then it says, Cameron, we need more context for this
Yeah.
one about itemizing your policy. And then he further says, if shutters raise your property value, can you remove windows from your coverage?
No, it's called selection. You can't do that. No, you can't
Okay.
select what you want to insure and not insure. Yeah.
Interesting. But you see where
Mhm.
he's going with it. And he asked the previous question. We
Mhm.
learned that from Ivan, is
Yeah.
what he further alluded to. Now, let's talk about those persons who may not own their properties. And as you are a broker and you're there
Mhm.
to look for the best, what should renters know about their rights and their responsibilities?
So the good thing is if you're a renter, you're not responsible for anything outside of the building or anything that happens within the building. So one of the things that the renters should just make sure they're secured is their personal belongings and interior preparedness, really. I also encourage my renters to have renters insurance, which is also known as contents insurance. So if you want to secure your personal belongings, whatever your possessions are, you could purchase a contents policy that covers all of your personal belongings and itemize if that's what Cameron is talking about.
Okay.
You can itemize what you have. Specifically within the contents policy to make sure that you've captured everything in each room that you have stored,
Hmm.
etc. So
Hmm.
all your linens, your shoes, your bags, whatever it is that you want to protect from a hurricane
Smart
exposure.
devices and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff. Or maybe
just
you may have
itemize it. Yeah,
You may have
itemized.
heirlooms, you may have nice pieces of jewelry that may have a medallion or something. These are all the things that you can, even though you're a renter, you may not be responsible for the structure, the fridge, the stove, but your personal belongings, if you were no longer a tenant, everything that you take out and take with you, what I'm
Is your
understanding, can
response?
be insured.
Yeah, your personal belongs. Yeah.
So is there then comes, and this is just for general conversation,
hmm
what then would be your advice to landlords? Like, what should landlords be doing to protect their tenants? Understanding the importance
Obviously,
of that.
yeah. So they should send an official communication letting know that there is a storm coming. They should be prepared, and to put any emergency contacts on the list, and advise if any shelter information is available, because
Mhm,
sometimes the property where they're renting is not safe to stay. So that would be a good advice for their tenants. The landlord should also secure their property structure to make sure that everything in the building is, if it's a hurricane rated building, proper building, that the roof, the windows are all maintained and secured. Protect the common areas around the property. That's another one.
mhm,
um, and just make sure they document everything, before the storm, so that if there is a claim that has to be made after the storm, they're able to have those pictures and videos available.
mhm.
Yeah.
No, I know it's probably hard because you said you have to itemize it in order to get, but just for the sake and the purpose of this episode, what is the average cost and like for your average, let's say someone in the construction industry that may want to do minimum property insurance? They may have their laptop, they may have their personal effects, their shoes, their clothes, equipment that they use at work. What an average, what would it look like?
Yeah. So there are minimum premiums. So if you were to insure for like 20 or even $10,000, it's like $500 a year. So
A
it is
year.
recommended. Yeah. And it comes with liability coverage as well. So it's pretty affordable if you're a renter or tenant. Obviously,
Mhm,
if you have more valuables that you want to insure, then it obviously they apply a different rate for those
mhm,
expensive items. But general, like your linens, your towels, your just general stuff, carpet, whatever you want to insure, your anything that
mhm.
belongs to you. Yeah, it's fairly affordable.
Now
hmm
we're talking about personal effects. Could somebody, as a tenant, even consider a policy that would include should where they're renting becomes damaged, that they have a built-in part of it, that temporary accommodations would be available as well?
Yeah, it's called tenant improvements. So if you were to go in and you know, improve something and you want to ensure that, you can do that. So
Interesting.
any
Mhm,
fixtures and any fixed, if you're allowed to, because there's a lot of rules within your lease,
mhm.
you could insure for those
Oh,
leasehold
wow.
improvements. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's
Mhm.
talk about documentation tips. What is the
Mhm.
best way to document your property and belongings before a storm? Now, this goes for renters, it goes for homeowners, it goes for even businesses. Because when you even look at commercial insurance, that is even a little bit more technical. And I'm quite sure you cover those small mom and pop stores as well, don't you?
Mhm. Yeah, I do. Yeah, we do have a bit of that. So one of my tips would be is have lists. Have a list of your for the mom and pop stores, have a list of your stock, your equipment, anything that you paid money for, it has value and you would want to cover in event of a hurricane event. Yeah, just have a list. Take pictures of your information and just have everything up to date. Because in the event of a hurricane, that's the first things the insurer is going to want to see and want proof of
Hmm.
your itemized list, and
Hmm.
actually having that possession in your business or home.
Now, we heard some horror stories. We're going to talk about the claim process. We heard some
Mm.
horror stories post Ivan, my love.
Mhm.
Please, if someone experienced damage, what is the first step they should take? And what can actually delay their claim? Now that's very broad, but I'm quite sure if we got some brave callers to say what they experienced after Ivan, and the word adjuster was almost like a trigger. They didn't want to hear the word adjusters or the title adjusters. But really, what could delay the claim? And let's talk about claims process in its entirety.
Yeah, so I would recommend just be organized. If you have all your ducks in a row and you have all the documents that the insurance company is requiring you to have to submit a claim, just make sure you have that in place. at the time when you're submitting your claim documents. So the first thing I would recommend is definitely notifying your insurance broker or the insurance company of a potential claim, or that you want to make file on your policy, because there is a 30-day claim notification. Most policies do have a 30-day claim notification process, so do it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Second, document the damage, to make sure so that you can show proof that this was what happened to the
Mm-hmm.
insurers. And then third, secure the property from further damage, because again, you have to be seen that you are doing your part in ensuring that there isn't any, you were negligent in just leaving the property unsecured,
Mm-hmm.
and that can go against your claim as well. And again, just making sure that when you're completing the claim form or whatever the insurance company is asking you to submit, you have everything in order. And you should be fine in terms of delay. Now, obviously, in a mass, if there is a catastrophic event like this, if this major hurricane was to come, um, insurance companies will be prepared for this event. So they will
Mm-hmm.
obviously have, like, I'm pretty sure by tomorrow, if we hear that this hurricane is coming, all of their loss adjusters will be flying into Cayman just
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that they're here to respond to the mass claim amounts that we'll be having. So I
Mm-hmm.
think after Ivan, I sit, and just so you guys know, I sit on the Cayman Insurance Association board as director, and we have talked about this at length. And after Ivan, we did learn, because what was
Mm.
happening is that the loss adjusters couldn't get on island because we had closed the
Ah,
airports.
okay.
So now we have better plans in place. So I can guarantee you that if there is a shift in terms of that being a threat to Cayman, a lot of the most insurance companies will have their loss adjusters. They will be having meetings into how they're going to come back to make this more efficient, a better experience,
Yes.
than Ivan. Yeah.
Hmm. Now, for putting it into context, we heard that the different categories of hurricanes, tropical storm, category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, is there a difference when it comes to policies, like, or when you actually do an insurance policy, it covers all categories should damage is sustained? Because there was some talks about, oh, there was some cap would don't cover category 5.
No.
We're demystifying this right now. We want only facts.
Yeah. So no, most hurricane policies written in the Cayman Islands cover tropical storm, hurricane, windstorm from one. Once it's declared a hurricane or a tropical storm, your policy covers it. So yeah, that is definitely a misconception that a Cat
Hmm.
5 is not covered. Once it's called a hurricane, no matter what level it is, major hurricane, it's covered. That's a covered peril in under most insurance policies.
And what about those who are living along the coast, like coastal areas? They're I'm quite sure they're able to get insured. What does your role look like when someone comes and says, "Oh, I'm on a waterfront property"? What is that
Um,
like hunting for a policy?
yeah, it's okay because again, the Cayman is how the reinsurers look at Cayman. It's a flat jurisdiction, so whether you are in the water or not, like the risk is basically the same, but
See,
obviously you're
really?
but you obviously are more exposed if you're on the water. What
Mm-hmm.
most insurers do, is they will apply a slightly higher rate and increase the cat deductible to a
Mm-hmm.
5%. So instead of buying the regular standard 3% of what
Mm-hmm.
the market normally offers, they won't provide a quote to you, with that same terms. They'll increase the deductible to kind of mitigate, the mass event in the event of
Mm-hmm.
a hurricane.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now let's look at policy gaps. There are common exclusions or limitations. Are there any
Yeah.
common exclusions or limitations that people can overlook?
Yeah, you have to make sure you read your policy. Some policies cover it, some don't. But like awnings, any signs, any portable generators, any blinds, that you have outside, anything left like outside in the opened,
Mm-hmm.
that is excluded from hurricane coverage. So under a homeowner's policy, I would definitely recommend you looking into that to see if it is. But if it is, just make sure you kind of like take it down and put it inside and secure it so that, um, you don't have, an exposure there.
Mm-hmm.
And then under the contents section of the policy, we touched on it a little bit about itemizing it. And
Yeah.
yes, so there is a lot of the policies limit the high-end valuable items such as like works of arts, jewelry, anything that is considered valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, if you have a piece of jewelry that costs, most policies have a limit. So they will say we will pay for your valuables up to 2,500
Mm-hmm.
unless you specify it and list it under in your policy. So for instance, if I have a piece of a jewelry that it costs me $5,000 and I did not specify it under my contents list,
Mm-hmm.
it could be possible that it would be limited to that whatever policy limit is, which is like
Mm-hmm.
mostly $2,500. So the max
Mm-hmm.
payout you would get would be the $2,500 because you didn't list it under your contents policy. So anything to do with valuables, works of art, anything like it's expensive, a chandelier that you know specifically would cost you this amount that is
Mm-hmm.
expensive, like high-end stuff, I always recommend listing them out because the policy does have an any one item limit um, under that content sections.
Mm-hmm. Now, I understand, and you said it here already, that, new policies are done. But for those persons who already have their policies, and let's say you can still renew them, what should people really be reviewing in their policies? You only got one more business day. I can't see insurance companies being opening over the weekend, like supermarkets.
Yeah, well, obviously making sure that they're renewed in time. So if your policy expiry date expires on the 25th or 26th, we'll definitely make sure that it's renewed. And you can look at that time too. If you have to increase your sum insured at renewal, do it now,
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, and it's just reviewing your policies to make sure that you have all your contents itemized, your valuables listed, and properly just adequately insured.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the impact and understanding reinsurance, and
hmm
Cayman Islands is not, this huge like the US or like the UK. How does reinsurance impact even the rate that you pay or what your premiums will be? Because we've had a very good season, we must say that much, but it didn't really impact the cost of premiums. And here we are now, possibly looking at maybe Cat 5 in the next couple of hours. We don't know. We don't know. There's so much unknown. How can that impact even the way in which claims are processed and looking into the future?
Okay, so from a reinsurance perspective, I think I kind of spoke about this at length in our last call. So, how it works is your local insurance company is probably reinsuring your risk 95%, and they're only keeping or ceding 5% of the risk.
Hmm.
So, you have facultative reinsurance and you have treaty reinsurance. So most local insurance purchase treaty insurance. So what they do is they reinsure their portfolio of risk and they cede, let's just say 5% of it. So that rate when their insurance comes up for renewal, their portfolio comes up for renewal is set at that time. So,
Hmm.
so in terms of paying claims, they shouldn't have because they've already taken consideration. They've done already catastrophe modeling, maximal probable loss outcomes, and that's how they're able to arrive to what the insurance premium you are
Hmm.
paying is the correct premium based on the risk exposure of that company that what they have. So there shouldn't be any effects there. If a
Hmm.
claim happens, they pay the premium. That's what you paid. You have a contract for. They promise to pay
Hmm.
X, and you will be getting X less your deductible, subject to policy terms and conditions. So that shouldn't really affect anything. Now going forward, I was really hoping that we weren't going to have any disasters, but look, we're still not we're still good. Because the property market has shifted to a soft market where the insurance premiums were coming down, and we were seeing rate reductions. And it was mainly driven because of capacity. Now, what
Hmm.
that is, I mean, and I'll try to break it down in layman terms. Capacity is where you have people offering to pay and buy reinsurance. Before it was limited, and there wasn't a lot of investors investing in insurance vehicles. So that has now, the market has now opened up. There's a lot more people investing in it. So there's options where insurers can go and buy reinsurance from. So that's one of the main reasons why they were the rates were coming down. And obviously, we didn't have such drastic hurricane claim
Exactly.
experience. Yeah.
And
So
you see the question that is asked by Cameron, what's the difference between an insurer and a reinsurer?
okay, so okay, so how do I break that down? So an insurance company is the person who you go and buy insurance from.
Hmm.
Then the reinsurance buys, then the insurance company buys reinsurance. So that's the difference between those two.
So it's like a double safety. So one pays out the other, like a co. Like
Exactly.
when you go to the bank, like you have a co person.
Yeah. So you have the insurance company. Let's just say if you purchase a $100,000 policy, they are then buying reinsurance for $95,000
Hmm.
out of that $100,000 policy. So that's the difference. So then the
Okay.
reinsurance reinsures that $95,000, and the insurance company keeps $5,000.
Five. Okay. I
Yeah.
hope that helps
Yeah. So that's the
answer,
difference
Cameron.
between them. So it's insurance for insurance. That's
And after,
that's the easiest. Yeah.
otherwise, they're left holding the 100% of the bag, right?
Yeah. And I mean, who wants to keep that liability on their books, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Beverly. She's saying excellent, very good information. And good evening, Miss Dorothy McLeod. Always a pleasure to have you here with us. Anthony is saying, if I list an expensive piece of jewelry, will that also cover for theft throughout the year or only loss during a hurricane?
Yes. It'll be covered for theft.
Hmm. So there we go. See, we're getting all of these. Now, what if somebody already has a policy, hears you here, understanding that you have one business day and want to visit you to go over what their policy is because you can do such a darn good job of putting things in layman's terms. Can they do that? Can they come to you?
Yeah. With the option that I can get an opportunity to quote when it comes up for renewal, then yeah, I'm happy to provide my services.
No, good. Look. You know what? You're not working for free,
Yeah,
But
exactly.
because people don't understand, the devil is in the details. And if you really don't understand, you are a broker. And instead of pretty much just going on their own, allow you then to do the groundwork for persons, because I don't think people understand the role of a broker.
Yeah.
And this may be an opportunity for you, for the sake of those who don't even understand yourself as a broker and what your
Yeah.
company does, to just break it down in simple terms for persons. And I know it's hard to speak about yourself. I know it's hard for you to actually promote your business, but now is an opportunity because, as you rightfully say, when they're up for renewal, they don't necessarily have to go back. This is by
Yeah.
no means taking business or food out of anybody's mouth. This is just the facts of weighing options, because you could look at the market in its entirety and say, look, well, Sabrina, why won't you think this is what I found? This is what you gave. Like, how can people be prepared to have the conversation with you being an insurance broker?
Okay. So let me put this in layman terms. I tend to talk, and when I'm talking, I'm talking all the insurance jargon, and I kind of lose people. So in simple terms, an insurance broker acts as an intermediary between the client and the insurance company. So our role is to help our clients identify risk exposures, manage the insurance coverage, and obtain a policy that best meets the client needs. Is
Mhm.
that simple?
Simple enough so that
Yeah.
you're going to bat for me is what I'm
Yes.
getting at.
So if
You're
you were
going
to
to
come
bat.
exactly. So if you were to come to me and you said to me, I have this property, can you look at it and let me know what would be the best advice, or what carrier would be the best to place this with based on my risk exposure, then I would
Mhm.
know immediately, because I know the market. I can tell you, well, carrier A, they don't like doing waterfront properties, and if they do it, they're
Mhm.
going to charge you this amount, and I can't
An
do with
arm
them.
and a leg.
Yeah, or carrier B, they're very flexible. Once we do this, then we can delete this, up this. So we know the market because we are in the market every day, and this is what we do
Mhm.
for our clients. Yeah. So we're able to assess the client needs, provide expert advice, source and compare insurance policies, claim support. That's important. So,
Mm-hmm.
in the event of a catastrophe claim, we can guide our clients through the claims process. So, instead of you dealing directly with the insurance company, we're dealing with the insurance company and we're saying, no,
Mm,
this is not right. You need to pay X amount because this is what they have, etc. So, we're able to liaise with insurance to ensure the claims are processed fairly and efficiently. And yeah, so that's our role. And then in addition to that, we also do offer risk management and ongoing review to ensure that clients implement strategies to reduce risk and prevent future losses.
mm-hmm.
So that is our role really as an insurance broker. We're not the insurance company. I know a lot of times people call us and I think like, oh, asking us for like, and we can't even like, we don't set the rates. We,
Okay.
yeah, we're not allowed to do that. I mean, some brokers do have the pen because they do act as agents for an insurance company and they do
Mm-hmm.
have that set up. But Concilium Cayman is an independent broker. We don't act for any insurance company. We're independent and we sell for every insurance company, every Class A insurance company in Cayman and
Right.
Lloyd's of London. And we have access to other markets as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what would you advise persons now? Because we got time. It's all preparation and making sure. Would you advise somebody to do around their house that, God forbid, if it comes in our area and should we get any form of damage that will make the claim process easier? Would you suggest with smartphones, pictures, videos? What tips would you give? Be it even a renter, what would be the most sound advice you would give to persons right now in general?
Yeah. So obviously my first advice would be is be prepared, track the storm and make sure that you're aware of what's going on. Don't just be lenient about it and complacent because there is a possibility that this storm could come our way and then we get panics. And so I think always being prepared is my first sound advice. From an insurance perspective, again, just make sure that everything is checked off. You have a proper list for your contents insurance. Your building is secured, and your family, is medical items is safe. You have all of your personal effects that you need. If you need medicine, um, you
Mm-hmm.
have some cash, anything like that would help,
Mm-hmm.
this process. So it's just being prepared from all levels, no, from a personal level, from an insurance level, from a protection of families. So yeah, that would be my sound advice to the local team. The in terms of insurance, don't worry about it. Just make sure that, once you have your insurance policy, it will correspond. This would be a good time to test it
Mm.
to make a claim on it. So once you're adequately insured, you have your list, you have pictures, it will be fine. Your policy will
What could
correspond for you.
what could you say has been the most thing that is most annoying that you see coming up that could delay claims? What do you see could actually delay claims that it constantly repeats and people don't even realize it? Bad documentation
Yeah.
or what? And what explain
So
what that looks like?
so if you don't have a recent valuation on file, that could delay your claim. Because when the loss adjuster comes in to do their claim management, the first thing they're going to see your sum insured value. If they in any way feel that it's too low, the first thing they're going to ask is for a valuation. So then you're going
Mm.
to have to go and get a valuation to justify your sum insured value. So that takes time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So just making sure that you have all your ducks in a row, like all your documents, any
Mhm,
pictures to support your claim, etc.
mhm.
And remember too, I should stress this, there is a catastrophe deductible on your policy, which
A catastrophe deductible, break
yeah,
that down in simple terms for us.
so that is the deductible that you are responsible for in the event of a hurricane, earthquake, windstorm, anything to do with catastrophe events. You're
Mhm.
responsible for the first 3% of that
Of
loss.
whatever your policy is.
Yeah, so 3% of your sum insured. So if you are insured for 100,000, you
Mhm,
are responsible for 3% of that $100,000 before the claim. So what that means is if the storm was to come and you only have $1,000 in damage,
mhm.
you're gonna have to bear that cost.
Because your deductible would be okay.
Yeah, so they would
Now
only
you understand why people don't like insurance.
I know.
I have
But
to I have to be very blunt. It's the truth because these are the things that when you go through, it's traumatic as it is, but then you're going to
Yeah.
go and you say what, and that's why people are like not understanding the terms deductible. At what point do you get to the point where your insurance provider writes a check? Now you're telling me this after the fact is why I think it's so emotive and people get angry, and you get this label that you all, that the industry are thieves, and when you
Yeah.
need them they're not there for you.
Again, it's just education and at renewal and that policy exception to make sure you're asking these questions and that you're being explained properly what you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
And at renewal, you have time to, when you get your renewal notice, look over what you have purchased. Are your limits adequate? Is your contents policy has all the lists properly, and understanding that average clause, understanding the deductible.
Yeah.
Um, just again, just making sure that you're knowing what you're purchasing and you have a
Okay.
proper advisor advising you on what you're purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where the
And
broker comes in.
there we go. You just took it out of my mouth, and you can take that all out of it. Just give you a call and have
Yeah.
you do all the work, and you'll break it
Yeah.
down in layman's terms and just make
Yeah.
life easy for everybody. So you don't really get angry
Yeah.
when, because you will go in uninformed or not as educated as you went in,
Yeah.
but you come out definitely with more information and a clear understanding as to what your policy, the pros, the cons, how you can improve it, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What would you say to the comment that we're at the mercies of evaluators? What would you say to a comment that loose?
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's a whole topic and conversation. I want to say that they are professionals and they have to adhere to certain standards. So, in terms of providing adequate and legit property valuations,
Hmm.
they should be doing it. So as the industry, I mean, I would like to be respected of my industry. I mean, people say a
Of
lot of
course,
things, like, but I do feel that they do, try
fair here in
fair,
Cayman.
yeah, and based on the valuations that I've seen, and they are
Hmm.
fair, and they are, and a lot
My
of them are,
experience too has
yeah,
always been positive, to be
yeah,
honest. And they will tell you straight, because you never know who's a mystery shopper to try and nab you at something if you ask for something weird. But I would say, by all accounts, not to say that we probably don't have some unscrupulous people out there, but
yeah,
in
and
all fairness, I
yeah.
feel that they do. They're above board.
Yeah, and their health standards too. So, like,
Correct.
they don't want to have that reputation. I know that there
Correct.
always is sometimes a disagreement with what the value
Hmm.
is on your house and what they're saying. But again, I think that mostly happens too when you're trying to negotiate a claim with insurance companies, because they'll tell you, oh, well, your house is valued this, and you're saying no, it's not, and that's where
Yeah.
they kind of like
Yeah.
go back and forth.
Yeah.
But again, just making sure that you're doing the right thing. I mean, it's easy, right? And then I know it's expensive to purchase a higher limit at the time when you're renewing your policy, but that would be the right thing to do, because
Hmm.
then if you underinsure, then you're taking that responsibility that in the event of the claim, you are
Hmm.
responsible for that gap that you didn't
Correct.
insure for.
Correct.
It's
Hmm.
as simple as that. Yeah.
Right. We got some comments. Hi, Miss Lucille. It's good to have you with us, and I'm wishing you all the best, my love, as usual. And Shelma was on earlier on. Cameron says, can we take out policies in the United States of America or anywhere outside our jurisdiction? How would you answer that?
Yes, you can, but I'm not sure if the US will be able to offer you any insurance products here in the Cayman Islands. So
Hmm.
that how it most, yeah. So the US won't write in Cayman. They don't have admitted rights to write in the Cayman
Okay. So,
jurisdiction. Yeah.
so there we go. Anthony Russell, how do we as homeowners protect themselves from smaller claims deductible? I had damage in excess of 9,000. My insurance during storm Grace, they didn't want to pay, stating the deductible that yeah is more than the claim. How do we protect ourselves from having to fine 10,000 with having insurance? So you kind of
You
went
just
into
have
that.
to,
What?
yeah, you have to just know, like, and save and make sure that can you financially retain, because again, the insurance policy is not going to cut, no insurance policy cut, it's always a co insurance
Mm-hmm.
Arrangement. Even with your health, you'll always see most policies has a deductible on it that you have to meet before the insurance company pays the claim. But especially in property, like you're not going to get away from that. There is
Mm-hmm.
a deductible on your policy, and you just have to make sure that you're able to have that money in reserve. And I know in mostly the strata laws here in Cayman mandate that the strata organizations have that money in reserve in the event of a catastrophe event, so that they're able to dip into those funds and pay for those claims that don't um, cover over the deductible amount.
Anthony, and I'm paying you no mind with that last message, but let me go because I'm going to keep this serious. Um,
Yeah, it's
Anyhow,
yeah.
what it seems to me, going back on a very um keeping it real, it sounds to me for what Anthony is asking for that we need reinsurance to just cover this deductible. It works. No, but now I'm hoping people will understand the concept. Why
Yeah,
insurance do reinsurance for what Anthony is saying. It almost sounds that you need another insurance to take care of the shortfall should you
deductibles.
end up. Yes. If you really look at it now, what he's saying, because he further says people are struggling and payments up to keep their payments up to date, but then having to find 10,000 out of pocket for smaller claims. Yeah, that's so. I hope
Yeah.
that people will understand the concept to why I said that. Connie says I pay 250 G's for my 3-bedroom 12 years ago, and they only that I guess that's value mine at 180,000. And you're saying, how do
Mm.
people think? That's insurance.
No, so
Evaluators,
maybe
evaluators. So yeah.
so yeah, so okay, so let me clarify that. You do not insure for your market value. So you might have bought your house for 250K, but your insurance replacement cost is 180. So that would be correct. That sounds great because you could have a home that is worth $3 million in the market because of how Cayman market is, but the cost to replace that home in today's dollars will not be 3 million. It can be only $1 million. You get what I'm saying?
That's the
So
difference.
that's the difference. You do not insure for market value. You insure for insurance replacement costs, what it would cost you today to rebuild your home and put you back into the same financial position as you were before the event.
Well, with the cost of construction now, Connie, I think you need to go and get that reevaluated, because if you had to replace your property today based on the going market rate of to build per square foot, it may be interesting what you would get back.
Yeah.
Gina, once you have a mortgage with the bank, it's a requirement to have home insurance. Most people can hardly afford to pay their mortgage, much less home insurance. Yeah. And this is some countries actually have built in with them. When you pay your mortgage, it automatically has some sort of insurance with it. I don't
Yeah.
see that being the case here.
No, not in Cayman. Cayman doesn't have that market. There are some banks that has an insurance division that offers an insurance policy, but you still have to pay for it um,
Mm,
in extra, and they'll take it out of your mortgage payments. But
mhm.
like I know Scotiabank does that, Butterfield as well, but they don't offer an insurance program along with your mortgage, so you don't have to buy insurance again. No.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I think
Oh.
it's just because where we are too, the jurisdiction we live in. We live in a very
Mhm.
we live in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Hurricane-prone, yeah.
Your line exactly. There's a price for
Yeah,
paradise.
exactly. Price for living in paradise, yeah.
Paradise, yes. Trisha Castillo Swaby says, please also talk about the fact that over-insured is also a thing, and not just underinsurers. I know if someone who was trying to make sure their coverage was solid and covered everything, only to find out that there are penalties for being overinsured as well. So that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah. Again, we always recommend to reviewing evaluation. I mean, I'm not sure how you can be overinsured though. Maybe they probably insure for the market value and not the insurance replacement cost value. I can see
Mm-hmm.
how that could happen, but again, their insurance broker or the insurance company should have caught that and told them that, you're not insuring for the right value. But I'm not sure about any overinsurance penalties. Would love to know more about that and see how that case was
Mm-hmm.
handled. Yeah.
Yeah, Cameron made a very interesting statement here. Some land is worth more than the actual house that sits on it. What
Yeah.
would you say there? Still, again, it's contents,
We
it's the
don't
structure
we
that
don't
you are.
insure land. Yeah. The land is always excluded from the valuation. So we don't insure land. We only insure the
Mm.
structure. Mhm.
I know too, Cameron, that this is some 411 for you. That if the land is valued more than the structure, sometimes, and you still have a mortgage on it, some banks will actually waive your condition to have property insurance.
Oh.
However, you're still encouraged to get it, but then it wouldn't be a condition that is aligned with your mortgage. So ask your bank if you have a mortgage on a property where the property itself is less to replace than the value of the land. Some banks will say you don't need property insurance, which means your land, as you've said, Cameron, worth more than the structure. But some banks will work with you and say, look, because your asset, where that house is sitting, where that dwelling is sitting, and even though you have a balance, or even if your balance on your mortgage is less than what the overall value is, they will say you don't need to do the insurance, which is, again, that's why it's good to have a good relationship with your banker, your loans officer as well. And good to know your numbers in this case, because sometimes that can make a huge difference in what monies you save in your pocket in the month, or more that you can probably attach to the principal.
Yeah.
So these are things, just like how Yarmouth's hair can definitely go and do all of the searchings for you and making sure that you get the best rate and best value for money.
Yeah. And those events too, when people have paid off their mortgages, a lot of the times they don't choose to insure just because they're like, look, we just can't afford it. We're retired, but I always encourage them to buy something. So I can offer them a policy that just covers fire and flood only, and theft, flood not caused by hurricane, obviously, because you never know, you might have a burst pipe claim that would just ruin your whole entire,
It's true.
yeah.
Or the AC with the drip pan and not having the automatic switch and all.
And you
You
and you
come home.
can't predict fire claims as well. So like I always say, yeah, I understand you might not be concerned about hurricane. My house did very well during Ivan. I had little to no damage. I'm not insuring anymore. But I mean, for me, like I say, you work so hard for your investment and you finally own it. Why not just have something like I said, even if it's fire, theft, and flood not caused by hurricane perils, and it's half, it's not even people think it's expensive. It's not even because obviously the cost of the insurance is really driven by the cat perils. So once you remove those perils from your policy, the premium goes down to half. So
This is the first time we see this one commenting.
yeah.
Oh, I love these people who hide behind these names, but I would really love to know who some of them are. Not that it matters. But to be honest, it's funny how they come up with these names. Be Honest now says, how do you get the evaluation for the replacement value versus the market value of a property? I thought the valued only quote you the market value for the property. But what is the replacement cost?
You have to specifically ask for a valuation for insurance replacement costs basis. Or you can ask for a full valuation that includes your insurance replacement costs.
I hope that answers Be Honest now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you see, these are the things, and this is why it is so important for us to have fluid conversation like this in layman's terms, because just like how Be Honest asked that question, the average person wouldn't, it's almost like you got to come to school to go and have a conversation. And there's nothing wrong with that, which is why there's one thing of not asking or being fearful of asking what one may perceive as a dumb question or a stupid question. But some people is just oblivious of some of these questions and concerns to ask. And why it's important for us, even though you're not able now to go and let's say buy a new policy now, but you're still allowed now because of the hurricane or tropical storm being so close. the mere fact that you are getting this type of information from a insurance broker who is here to hold your hand, who is here to help you through this whole process come renewal, is key for us to have these conversations.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yarmans, I really, really want to thank you for making yourself available to make this a reality, because I'm telling you, after the shows, people do come back and say, I am so happy that the podcast, we can go back because there was something that she said or a Nikki said that didn't make sense. And I was able to go back and look at it and didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That is preparing them now for the next time they go to sit down with either their insurance person or a broker like yourself, that they're informed, and you will see confidence build into your customers because they're coming from an informed perspective, and that makes the world of a difference.
Yeah, I always said that that was one of my aims. I got into the insurance industry right after Ivan. I was one of those who were actually picking up those files and trying to save those files and scan them into the system so we can able to process your claims. And I always said that it was a traumatic experience. I saw a lot of like people not happy, and the industry did get a bad name for it.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why I stay on the Cayman Islands Insurance Association board, just because I want to change that perception from the industry. We're not thieves. We're not, we want to pay claims. And I think if it wasn't for the insurance company or the insurance industry after Ivan came on, would have not been able to build back like how we did. I mean, let's just put that in perspective. The insurance companies paid out a lot of money to rebuild Cayman back stronger and better. We have better structures now since then. So I know it's frustrating. I know it could be annoying, but that is why we are here, the professionals. This is what we do for a living, and reaching out to your insurance broker or even directly to your insurance company and having these conversations can make a difference in terms of knowing what you're purchasing, because I can tell you the insurance companies are not here not to pay claims. They're just following what their contract says, what you signed up to. So the onus is to make sure that you know what you're purchasing.
Yeah. Which
No.
Connie, that goes into what Connie's asking. So why, when you ask for evaluation, they ask for what purpose? Why not just give you the real thing? What if you decide to sell after?
So she's talking about the valuator when she goes to the valuator. I think the valuator is asking because I think there's a different price, maybe. So they want to know like which
it's
one you
true.
need. Yeah.
Do you need it just to know what your asset is, let's say for a bank or refinancing?
Yeah.
Versus you need it for a company like
Insurance.
yours to get
Yeah,
insurance. Then they look at the two different markets. Yes.
And then they'll
Connie, that's
charge you
probably right.
based on what you're asking them to do. Because if they have to do a proper market value valuation. That takes more time because they're gonna have to go and research the market and do all that kind of stuff versus an insurance replacement cost valuation.
Yes, in this case, it was for insurance purposes.
Okay, so
See,
you just
she's
have
saying,
so you just have to tell them it's for insurance purposes, and they'll just give you a standard insurance valuation, which saves the reinstatement costs.
okay. So if she needed that, then let's say for the bank, it would probably have taken on a different approach where monetizing it is concerned.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'm not sure how they structure it, but I'm assuming because a market value valuation is very different from insurance replacement cost valuation.
And look, Cameron is applauding you. This is a good discussion, no doubt. Thanks for showing up, Ms. Hides. Take that.
Well, thank you, Cameron Castillo. Appreciate it. I want to educate the public. I mean, I think that's part of my role here in the industry, and want to take that stigma away from the industry. We work really hard, to try to take that away. And it's simple. Just review what you're purchasing, know what you're buying, and
And he further said, simply just want to know the value. Simple.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it's interesting. It would be good to get an appraiser on one of these shows, to be honest, because I was really trying to get someone in the banking industry.
Yeah.
But I would need someone who's possibly retired, someone who's not necessarily affiliated with a bank now, because they would have to get permission because they're coming on here in an independent capacity. And I wouldn't want anybody to be in any problems with their employer or their organization. Not that we would be having a discussion in regards to their practices, but we would just be having a honest, open conversation. Who to
Yeah.
tell? It could lead to business for wherever that person works if
Yeah.
they're allowed to say where they work. So I'm like, you're educating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking. That's why that round table has not happened yet, because I
Okay.
haven't gotten anybody on. So where I could have yourself on for property, I could have someone with a banking background to just come on and have like 3 industries and even the medical insurance on there.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that person yet who is able to comfortably sit down or have a roundtable discussion for information purposes as yet. I'm still haven't given up. But now that we have gone into evaluations,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that is another one that we will probably
Or
try
even
to
a
look
loss
out.
adjuster too. We can kind of like pull them in to see.
See,
'Cause
but it all depends if they want to actually come
yeah.
in here and have the conversations, because this is not to get at. We're not going to be
No.
shooting
No.
people at all. This is a matter of you understanding it from their lens, how they come to their decisions, how they
Yeah.
do their job, so that everybody can be more informed and understanding of exactly what Connie pointed out. You know, it
The
would have been
value.
good to have, right? It would be good to have somebody who's working in that in industry to have just been able to break it down for the purpose of insurance versus for the purpose of the bank.
Yeah.
And in layman's terms. So yeah, I am not going to stop with bringing up these topical things, but my love, that is why the roundtable hasn't happened yet, because I
Yeah.
haven't been
Okay.
able to solidify someone in the banking industry. Even if they're retired, it would be good for someone to just be able to join you guys on. Mhm.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, for sure. Because I have some learning to do as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'll
See,
all learn
Cameron
from
is
each other.
asking. Correct. Cameron is even asking for a
Yeah.
real estate expert. I am still working on them. It's time, number one. And two, a lot of them have to get permission from their employers if they don't own their own business. But we had the real estate person on. Oh, no, 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 no. She coming back on too. We got my friend. Oh, yeah. And she did very well too. Oh, we had oh God, I can't remember her name now. Cameron, you missed that episode, but I only go into one. That's on the waterfront. But she was very, very informative.
That's
My
great.
love, what would you like to recap? What would you like to, education is key. And I am so happy, like I said, as a broker for the role that you play, just getting into this industry. What advice would you give to someone who has probably never thought brokerage or something that is hard to get used to in Cameron? People persons who are looking for it to get into the industry, what would you say to a young person who probably is not even thinking about brokerage and insurance? What would you say to someone?
I would definitely encourage them. There's not a lot of young Caymanians in this industry. I feel that they feel that insurance is just a sales job, and it is not. It's a very fulfilling role, and you can do so much within the insurance industry. There's a medical field, there's motor engineering roles, there's loss adjusting, there's accounting, there's marketing, and I want to encourage younger Caymanians because there is a big gap. And I
Mm-hmm.
even found it within myself, like, when I was, starting my career in it, that my bosses were like almost about to retire
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't a lot of locals interested in this field. They either just fell into it or they weren't really interested. And the insurance industry is growing,
Right.
and we need more Caymanian talent to dominate it and take ownership of it because it is a
Mm-hmm.
rewarding it's a rewarding industry, and you
Right.
learn a lot. And once you become experts in it, you're able to educate
Like what you're doing.
the public a little bit so that that stigma goes away from our
Mm-hmm.
industry. So I would definitely encourage you to look into it at least, even though you might feel that, oh, I can't sell car insurance, or it's not a sales job. Again, it's more to that, and you can decide which area you want to fulfill your career in, and
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely recommend you looking into it if you ask me. I encourage Caymanians to get into this role.
What does it take?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what really does it take? Or you just come in, learn the ropes, have an open mind, be dedicated, be show up to work, whatever. How do you get
Yeah.
your foot in the door if you've never been in the industry? Because you look right now at even applying for jobs,
Yeah.
and they want X amount of experience, this kind of degree, that kind of degree. But then when we're having these conversations, it sounds so inviting, but yet when the advertisement goes out, that's not what we're seeing.
Yeah. So to get in, if you were to just do, there's a FIT exam, which is called the Foundation Insurance Exam, which almost all insurance companies accept. That would be a good opening for you because it would show the insurance company that you have done this foundational exam. It's 100 multiple choice question exam. You're able to study for it. It's out of the UK. You can do it all online, and it's
Mhm.
about, last time I checked, it was like $200. It wasn't much, like,
Mhm.
to do it. And once you get that, that would open. I can tell you, you will be getting calls from a lot of insurance companies because they're like, oh, he or she has a foundation insurance certificate, so
Oh.
she would be a good fit to start underwriting,
Mhm.
underwriting homes, rating cars, rating construction, liability. So, and then they'll train you. A lot of the insurance companies want, and brokerage, I'll love to train, and mentor young Caymanians
Mhm.
into this role. So once you get that, the sky's the limit, really. It's not really hard.
Mhm.
The medical side has a different entry level test, but that doesn't mean that you don't that you have to have it. It just
Or like you
you
need to be a doctor or some
yeah,
neurosurgeon or something.
no, it's similar to the foundation. They have another one that they call it. I think it's AHIP. That's what they
Mhm.
call it. But what I'm saying is, if you do that exam, it's a game changer because when they look at your resume, they'll say, oh, they have the foundation exam, so they know the basics, so they will be able
Right.
to come in and get trained up properly because you show that you're committed to want to learn about the
Mhm.
industry.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not really hard. And once you have the drive and you're willing and you're able to take instructions and want to learn,
Mhm.
sky's the limit for you.
Wow, wow. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
that's investing in yourself because something as little as $200, that can go a long way at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I
No,
know
no, no, I'm
that,
just
that was
saying,
like
but
years. Yeah, but
no, no, but
it's not like $3,000 or like you have to pay. No, it's like less than $1,000 for sure.
mm,
Yeah.
and
So
look at the lifelong career because you can
career that you can
choose
have
either to go as a brokerage or you could go into an insurance directly. This open automatically,
opens
that's
doors.
opening doors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
multiple
even if
doors.
you don't have it, and when you interview for a role, then you tell the insurance or the brokerage company that you're willing to do it. Most companies pay for it. So
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah. So because you can't SEMA, you're not allowed to be selling insurance products without having that foundation.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So
So
you're
that's most.
making yourself automatically more attractive. Let's say you find yourself with whatever the cost may be, and you invest in yourself. You may have a little bit of time on your hand, and you have access to that type of money, and you want to do it. That actually makes your resume even more glowing.
It
May
puts you
actually
on top. It puts
top.
you on top the file on the pile for the people who are applying that doesn't have any insurance experience or qualifications.
As Cameron say, foot in the door, because Sariba has a course as well. Foot in the
Yeah.
door. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, what's your message to Caymanians who feel overwhelmed or unsure right now? Because there's a lot going on. We know we unpackaged yet a lot. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you enjoy sharing your knowledge, educating and informing, and that lets people know that we're not in silos after all. You just need to be connected with the right people.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I'm sitting here and I might look calm, but I'm a bit nervous because
Really? Could
yeah,
never tell.
I
Could
went
never
through
tell.
Ivan. Ivan was not a nice experience,
Ah,
so I do get flashbacks, etc. And, it could be nerve-wracking, but again, just try to stay calm, prepare yourself, keep up to date with the news. If you have to do something to protect your property, if you have to get sandbags, if you don't have hurricane rated windows or doors, if you have to protect them by buying plywood. I know it's going to be,
mhm.
and some people are going to be like saying, should I go and invest in this for a hurricane that's
Yeah,
probably not coming?
it's coming. Mhm.
But safety is always better. And,
Mhm.
and I always recommend just making sure that you're doing adequate amount
Being
of,
proactive.
yeah,
Mhm.
proactive, and try to stay calm I mean, I have kids, so, obviously just for the family, because it could be a bit, nerve-wracking. The
Mm-hmm.
anxiety levels goes up through the roof, and you start to worry about your elderly parents or someone who's not mobile. So it's just making sure that you are ahead of the game and you're
Mm-hmm.
planning so that you're not able to get those anxiety attacks. I
You're
call it.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
please.
it is real. It is real, and it could be mentally hard on people, especially for those who have experienced a major hurricane. So, but there's still hope. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything, no any recent updates, but there's still hopes that it's going to go up and we're going to be right. We're going to just miss it. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it does that.
Well, for what I'm seeing, people were asking to see if I could get Mr. Woody on, and I'm trying to see if I could get him on to get an update as to really what's happening in the supermarket. So maybe we can calm this panic buying down and let people know that there are supplies there. I'm
Yeah.
just waiting, and hopefully he can call in and give us an update on that. I don't know. Maybe he'll join us tomorrow. I don't know. But let's see. But yeah, it is. I can imagine what it must be like for you, because here we are preparing, but your work really starts immediately
Now,
after. Not
now.
even.
Yeah, so we're preparing. We already have team meetings. I've already I'm going to book a call with our head office in London
Mm-hmm.
because we would rely on their claims team and expertise to guide us, to assist us with the claims processes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that differentiates us from other on-island brokers. We're able to get resources from our London peers. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to kind of plan out a plan as to what's going to happen if this hurricane comes. So definitely on a call tomorrow. We're going to jump on a call tomorrow and plan for worst case scenario for next week.
Mm.
So yeah,
Oh, wow. Yeah,
yeah,
because we're seeing so much, and this is the thing with forecasting.
yeah.
1 minute it's a category 3, it all depends on when it hits, but because the water here is so deep and yada, 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 then you're seeing all on YouTube and social media, oh, Cat 5 could be impacting the Cayman Islands. That in itself
Gives
creates panic.
anxiety and
Yes,
stress.
and this is why we're saying keep tuned to local stations, because
Mhm.
they can give it to you in real time. You can look outside and see exactly what's happening, but at the end of the day, they're forecasters,
Yeah,
and it all depends on how far north you are, like Florida. Versus where we are right now, they may be thinking, well, after it passes Cayman, Jamaica, whatever the case may be, it could be a Cat 5. We
yeah.
don't know. It's
We
all
don't know yet.
forecasting. So
Yeah,
it's always good to, yes, be in the know. It's okay based on the power of YouTube and these smart devices and whatever subscriptions you have to listen to what's happening in the US, what's coming out on all platforms. But the key is to listen to your local media actual
trusted
sources.
channel.
And
Yeah.
this is why I thank you again, my love, for
Mhm.
being able to shine a light on this, because we technically still have at least one more business day. If she continues to slow down,
I think by
maybe may have
tomorrow,
two. We will know
yeah,
where she's
by
going.
tomorrow we should know for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
definitely by the weekend, if it does shift, then we should start preparing because
Okay.
come this way. But let's just hope for the best. Yeah, we don't want a storm over here, especially if it's a major hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other information you'd like to leave with us as a closing thoughts, wrap up for the sake of those who stayed with us today, and definitely for their participation and engaging?
Yeah. No, nothing really. Again, just make sure that from an insurance perspective, just check over your policies. If you have any questions, reach out to your broker or your existing insurance company. If you are my clients at Concilium, feel
Mm-hmm.
free to call me. I'm available and I'm happy to help. And yeah, we're all hoping and praying for the best, and hopefully nothing comes our way.
Just for the sake of those, give me the number for them to call your company should you have new customers that are wanting to hear more, because they're so impressed at what you're doing here.
Well, I'm so happy that they're impressed. So our office line is 745-5090. We are Concilium Insurance Brokers. We're located in Cricket Square,
Mm-hmm.
Century Yard, third floor. So yeah, just if anything, always you can always call, shoot us an email, and we are there for you, responding any questions you may have.
Now, hold on, I'm just putting it up here. There we go. Mm-hmm. Let's hope. Yeah, there we go. There. We got it up there in the link below.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, my love.
Yeah.
I drink lots of coffee. Make sure you also hydrate with water. Take your
Yeah.
multivitamins and be calm.
Yes.
Exhale. Exhale. And whenever you want a little that little downtime to take you away from reality, just call 936-8255. The family of Sabrina Speaks is always here for you to exhale.
Awesome.
It's
Extra
always
resources.
yes, because you enjoy educating,
Yeah.
you enjoy letting people know what's going on, and
Yeah.
that's why we're here for you. But I'll keep in touch with you,
Yeah.
understanding that you're going to be very busy, and
Yeah.
I wish you all the best. Keep safe, my love, and
Thank you
always a
so much.
pleasure to have you. Thank
And
you.
thank you for having me. I really appreciate
Sure.
it. Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Such a sweet soul. And it is always good to have all of this information. I got an update in real time from Woody, who has another engagement. Otherwise, he would have been on here. Just for the sake of you and letting know, and I quote, so far, we have not seen panic buying as the current track looks like Western Jamaica. But we are watching and will pivot however we need to based on any changes. Persons were asking whether or not they were going to open on Saturday, on Sunday. They have not made a decision at this point as yet. They're still looking at the projection, the path, and right now that call has not been made as yet. And this is on behalf of from Woody about Foster's Food Fair. And as you are considering or wondering about stock, he has confirmed we have stock, but of course, they, like every event, we will run out of some things. So right now, as it is, there's no official decision as to whether or not Foster's Food Fair will be open. Foster's IGA will be open on Sunday, but they are prepared and ready to pivot if or should Hazard Management Cayman Islands, is enacted but they have been reached out as well. But a final decision has not been made at this time whether or not they will be open for business on Sunday. And this is why it is key for us to keep abreast and up to date with all of the local happenings. And you've seen me put this up all evening about knowing exactly being prepared. There's a reason for that. Because if you go on to the caymanprepared.ky, there's a lot of information on there. There's also an app, and I have gotten confirmation that Hazard Management Cayman Islands will be on the Sabrina Speaks tomorrow. Yes. And we will have representatives from Hazard Management and the Cayman Islands Weather Service. So yes, we will have both entities being represented here tomorrow on Sabrina Speaks. That'll be live, giving you the latest updates at 5. But the next update is expected. This is the image as of 4 p.m. this evening. Tropical Storm Melissa, update from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, and I'll repeat that for the sake of those who were just in tune and didn't have it, that the system is moving very slowly at about 2 miles an hour. And the recent update has the system possibly moving near Western Jamaica by Tuesday afternoon. At this point, the system could be a major hurricane. There remains some uncertainty about the exact path the system will take, but the forecasted cone of uncertainty at 5 days includes the Cayman Islands. Now, while the system posed no immediate threat, that is at this time, residents are still encouraged to remain cautious and prepare in the event of the shift in the projected path, which could potentially impact conditions across the Cayman Islands. Given the uncertainty of how the system will ultimately track, residents are urged to continue to closely monitor updates for any potential impact on the Cayman Islands using official channels and information as we're sharing here. So, and for tonight, from the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, the next update will be provided around 10:30 this evening, and I will definitely be sharing that with you. But you are encouraged, and let me just copy this for you. You're encouraged to log on to our local media channels for the latest and updated information so that you're always in the know. And log on. Don't forget, if you got family that is traveling or you had plans to travel, that there are change fee waivers, and you can go on to Cayman Airways, also on the Sabrina Turner Community Activist Facebook page for that update as well. And feel free to give Cayman Airways a call. That's 345-949-2311 for all of the latest information there. But yeah, I know it's 10 minutes. I want to thank all of you for joining me this evening. And here's another image for all of you who are in the QR codes. And we'll have more information to share with you tomorrow as well when we have Hazard Management on. And these are the QR. There's QR codes for family emergency plans. There's a QR code for that. And then for a community emergency for your CERT teams to know where they are and how they're active, there's a QR code here for that. And also for the National Emergency Notification System, as known as NEMS, there's a QR code for that as well. And you will know should anything intensifies or get more, you got to know your colors. When there's an advisory, you will get all of these updates in different colors that will be posted by the National Weather Service. When there's an alert, when we're under a watch, when we're under a warning, when assessment and all clear. And all of these colors come with different meanings and what you should do. So yeah, no updates, Juanita, as yet in regards to openings of schools at this time, because we are still waiting on the latest updates. I expect tomorrow is going to be a rather busy afternoon, because as hour by hour, and remember, this system is moving, as the latest update says, 2 miles an hour. That's almost stationary. From what we're used to. So I can expect all of the persons in there, Cameron, thanks. I can expect all of these persons who are looking, like the meteorologist, all of the education officials and all that sort of stuff, they too are waiting for the next weather updates, and maybe the one that is around 5-6 o'clock tomorrow morning, to make some of these calls. But I can assure you tomorrow will be a busy day where media is concerned. But as of this time, no, I haven't gotten any confirmation, because kids are out of school, I think, this week on midterm break, and they should be going back to school hopefully on Monday, weather permitting. But I'm quite sure with advance notice and based on whatever the forecasted tracks are for the next 2 updates, the necessary officials will have the latest information from them. So just keep lock here, all your CMR channels as well. Definitely, I will be posting stuff in real time, and more so the local radio stations. So as soon as we get it, we will definitely be sharing it with you. But it has indeed been I hope you enjoyed the contents that were shared here today as well. And thank you for Yarmis for coming on and being with us to keep us informed. And remember down at International Lighting, when the power goes out, look, he got you covered, he got you covered. When the power goes out, your peace of mind shouldn't. Make sure you're ready with the 2-burner gas stove for International Lighting, so you can keep your family fed and safe no matter the weather. Visit International Lighting today for hurricane season essentials and more, because being prepared isn't just smart, it's necessary. And you know what? If you could spend $50 or more, there's still up for grabs for that ticket. Any Cayman Airways destination, you stand a chance of winning a ticket. Yeah, 194 North Sound Road, Ed's Plaza. So today we focus on a side of the storm where preparedness that often gets overlooked. I hope that property protection and insurance is what we focused on. And Karina, remind us that readiness isn't just about canned goods and flashlights. It's about knowing your policy, getting to know all of the fine print, documenting your assets, and asking the right question before the storm hits. But preparedness is really personal. It's knowing what's covered, what's excluded, and what steps you can take today to protect your home, your family, and definitely your peace of mind. So whether the system strengthens or shifts, Whether you're in Spots, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, remember, readiness is never wasted. It's the quiet strength that carries us through the storm. It has indeed been a pleasure. Stay safe. It is always good to be here with you. And tomorrow evening, I'm looking forward to seeing you all. Have a safe and fabulous Thursday. Take care and be safe on the roads.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.